Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back in. And tonight we have an absolutely I just can't wait for this one. And I said this on previous shows where it was just Mav and myself. We got when it's just the two of us, it's a bit more intimate. I've got a glass of red here, feeling cozy, and I think tonight is just going to be an absolute banger. Joined as always, we've got DFAB here, and just before we get into it, guys, it's 43 days until the NFL start date. Getting closer and closer. We're on the 23rd of July. And by this point, all the training camps they've all begun. The last teams were kind of jumping on base today. So we're going to have a whole heap of training camp hype and news coming through over the next couple of weeks. And we're going to be bringing you all that content to go along with it. As we look at it now, Hall of Fame game is next Friday. And I know for me, that's kind of where I see the season starting when that Hall of Fame game kicks off. But DFAB, throwing it to you, how are you feeling, mate, on this Wednesday night? And just how excited are you as we get closer?
Mate, first and foremost, good to see you. Pleasure as always.
Always, mate.
I'm excited. It feels like my season starts now. I said it to you and Mav in the chat this morning, like, training camp starts today. It feels like this is day one of the fantasy season. So we're finally here. News is going to start coming through thick and fast. We've got the Hall of Fame game next Friday, which starts pre-season. Like, the season's here now. It's like draft season. This is like opening a draft season too. So I won't lie, I did 5 mocks today. It's
excellent.
Like straight away back into it. So yeah, really excited and keen for this one as well. I know that the guys that I've kind of outlined are guys that I'm trying to pick up in every single draft. Like, they're going to be everywhere for me. So it's a good show. I'm looking forward to this one.
Yeah, and to be completely honest, there was one guy on there that you beat me to the punch that I was keen to have. So it'll be good to go through that. But I mean, with the Hall of Fame game too, it is the Lions versus the Chargers. So when it comes to this game, they probably won't play. I mean, the starters. I'd be very surprised if Herbert was playing for the Chargers. But I mean, who knows? That's going to be coming around Friday. I think around 10:30 EST time is probably when it starts to kick off. So
yeah.
I mean, it's just, so exciting. I know as well, Hard Knocks. I'm not too sure if you follow that along DFAB when that comes off. I think that starts for the next couple of weeks too.
It's all starting now, man. It's all coming.
It's all starting now. And the Netflix quarterback documentary, that season 2, I finished that one off recently. That is,
did you?
For anybody out there that's kind of itching to get into, that's just a great series. Shows like the I guess the journey from last season. Joey B, Kirk Cousins, and also there was I can't
even help you on this. I never watched it. I watched the first 2 episodes of the first season and I kind of fell off. So unless it's ESPN, I'm not the biggest TV guy, so I can't help you.
It's just clicked into gear looking at the Lions Hall of Fame game. It was Jared Goff. He was there as well, so that was cool to see how that kind of season played out for the Lions. But I mean, this is the time now too, with training camp coming up, where you're going to gain the biggest advantage over your league mates when you're tuning into the likes of us and staying wired in to all the news that's dropping out. Yeah, that's just where you're gonna gain the advantage and take over your league. I know for me, DFAB, I've been so many dynasty trades going through lately. How about you? You're actively out there on the market searching for some wins?
Again, anyone that's watching in my home dynasty league will be able to attest to it. I literally wrote in my chat this morning, all right, training camp starts today. This is too boring. Someone make a trade with me. Like, I'm actively trying to get as much going at the moment. Now's the time to be, especially in dynasty, now's the time to be making moves. You know, keep an eye on the guys that you like, those guys that have been sitting at the back end of your rosters. It's an exciting time. Like I said, it feels like day one of the season has finally hit. Like, we're going to get a lot moving forward, which is good.
And I feel like too, DFAB, just on the trading, like I feel like my kind of philosophy for fantasy football is that's where you win your league, you know, in those trades. Your draft only takes you so far, but that planning and trading and how active you are, that just, I mean, if you can stay on top of those things, you're drastically improves your chances of winning overall.
Yeah, big time, man. Agreed.
Big time. All right, so we'll jump in. Yeah, so not too much news. We're going to have more coming out over the next couple of weeks, of course, covering training camp, but just a little bit of a sneak peek of what's coming up for us at the Insight NFL podcast. starting off from the 1st of August, we're going to be ramping up to multiple shows per week, just trying to cover as much content as we can for you guys and just giving you as much of an advantage as possible. I mean, we're going to be running all of our redraft leagues for Insight. We're going to be trying to get all of them on 2-minute timers and live streaming them, for each one, which is going to be cool to cover. We'll all be in there kind of talking through the process, what values we like, what kind of teams we're liking, risers and fallers, as you will. And to go along with that, over on our Patreon, don't need to be a paid member. That we do have a free sign up, which gives you access, and we're dropping a lot of free NFL content over there. So the link is in the video description below to join up for free. And if you do join up for that free access, you'll also gain access to our WhatsApp group where we're things are heating up in there. We're being very active, covering the news as it kind of comes through. And just throwing this to you, DFAB, I mean, with all these redraft leagues coming up, are you kind of allowing yourself a multiple, or are you kind of capped at this point of the year? What's your kind of outlook moving forward?
I told myself I'd stop at 5, and that's been what I've said all year. But I have a feeling that'll very quickly triple. Like it's gonna add up really quick, especially with all the listener leagues we're gonna start doing. There's a couple of blokes at the footy club. One of my mates, Dos, who I believe is watching now, we're talking about getting a league through the footy club as well. Like me thinking I was going to be able to hold it to 5 leagues was arrogant. There's no chance. It's going to add up very quick, and football already takes over my life. It's just the more leagues I have, the more it's going to add up. So if I can keep it under 10, I'm going to be happy, but it's going to be a lot more. It's going to be more.
And that's usually how it goes, I feel, too, for a lot of, diehards / degens like us. We I know for me, looking at Dynasty, I'm just trying to wait and hold out until I start joining more leagues, because if I open up Pandora's box early, it's just so hard to get it closed and just contain overall excitement. So we'll jump into tonight's show. And I mean, as the title says, league winners. And these guys, we've got a few each that we're going to be covering, which over a couple of the different skill positions to mix it a little bit up. But just to throw back to you, DFAB, when it comes to a league winner, how do you kind of identify these guys, and what are you looking for?
Yeah, for me, it's a hard thing because the definition's slightly different for everyone, right? But for me, I've kind of worked off that someone with league winning upside, or a league winner, is someone that's got the potential to not only, outperform their draft capital, but honestly, it's a player that makes your opponent go, oh shit, when you see them coming up in that matchup. They're a top 5 guy you can get for free at the back end of your draft. Legitimate week winning capability, someone that can win you, get you to the finals basically on their own. A couple of ones that I've gone against and been scared of, but some I've kind of carried my team as well. Josh Jacobs in 2022, he was a 6th rounder who finished as the RB3. Devon Achane is still very fresh in everyone's mind. He was undrafted in most leagues and went nuclear off waivers, had 7 touchdowns in 3 weeks and 370 yards or something. That's the kind of upside I'm looking for. It's the guys that, if things break the right way, the player isn't just a good pick. They're the reason you win the championship ring at the back end of the year.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more, and just to add into that, guys that drastically outproduce their ADP, that you can get way later in drafts, and they just above and beyond, they just outproduce the value that you're getting them at, and they just have a significant impact on your roster because you pick them up so late. Yeah, those guys are just, I mean, looking at guys now, from previous years that were not even, you got them in the waivers. Kyron Williams, Puka Nacua, those guys were true league winners. And you picked them up off waivers from week 1 a couple of years ago. So that's what we're trying to present tonight. And hopefully, hopefully it'll be fun too, actually looking at, looking at this time next year, how we've kind of done with a couple of guys that are coming up tonight. And, just quietly, I'm feeling pretty comfortable, pretty confident. I've seen your list. I'm on board, so well, let's just get straight into it, DFAB, and we'll start off with your first guy of this evening. Who do you have to kick things off for us?
100%. And Mal, I will just say this was a really fun ep to prep for, because I had a list of like 10 blokes that I wanted to talk about, and
Yeah,
it
it's hard.
was, it was hard
Yeah.
trying to whittle it down. The first guy that I'm targeting everywhere and I think could be a real league winner, is Dalton Kincaid. So tight end from Buffalo. At the moment, he's coming off the board as tight end 14. He's back end of the 10th. Oh, sorry, front end of the 10th round. So you're picking him up for basically free in your drafts. It's been a real up and down experience with Kincaid so far. He had a super promising rookie year, 91 targets, pulled in 73 of them for just under 700 yards, and came into the front of last year as this, really highly touted tight end that we think, everyone was poised for a breakout. He started really slow though. He averaged 6 targets a game, was hampered by shoulder, collarbone injuries, and then ultimately he had a PCL. Not sure if it was a strain or a tear, but kind of messed his knee up. And every report is that's kind of what caused his reduction in performance. His snap counts dropped. He wasn't able to stay on the park. There's a lot of positives out of last year though. So if you're just going by scores and you were the one that got burnt by Kincaid, I get why it's not something that you want to chase, but despite missing 4 games last year, he still had the 14th most targets at tight end. His main issue was catch rate. He had the 34th. He ranked 34, amongst all tight ends on catch rate. Caught less than 6% of his balls. It was like 58.3%. Really, really poor. The good part about Kincaid though is that, as I said, every report suggested he's healthy. You got Brandon Bean out here banging on the table saying everything good about Kincaid. No, this isn't now Dawson Knox's team. This is still all Kincaid. He's hyper talented. He's put on size. He's put on some bulk, so he's going to be more durable. He's going to be out there more often. He had an 80.2% catch rate as a rookie, which was the 3rd best in the NFL. So it's trying to work out which one's the outlier. If you have faith in Kincaid, last year it was the injuries that caused him to drop off. He's super, super talented. The key things for me though is that there's 3 things. The Bills last year scored 29.5 points per game, and they're projected to once again be a top 10 offense in the league. They're led by Josh Allen, the best QB in the NFL. James Cook, their running back, scored 18 times last year. Unsustainable. The rate at which he was scoring is unsustainable for anyone. So there's going to be negative touchdown regression there. He's also in the midst of a contract dispute, whether he holds out, holds in, does he miss time? We don't know. It almost always bodes poorly for the player that holds out. They always start slow. Those touchdowns have got to go somewhere. And with Kincaid being, having a very clear route to being the number 1 pass catcher, he's dealing with Khalil Shakir, Keon Coleman, Josh Palmer's just turned up, all guys that average less than 6.5 targets a game. Kincaid has a very, very clear path to being the number 1 receiver on that squad. And that's not something you get from tight ends. Tight ends is a dog's breakfast. You've got McBride that does well. You've got Bowers that does well. But outside of that, even Laporta, who's for most people a top 3 tight end, he's got how many other mouths to feed? Kincaid has that route to being the guy who gets the lion's share. So I think his floor is mid-range top 12. I think you can comfortably assume that if he comes out with 70 catches, 750 yards, and 5 touchdowns, that he's coming out as tight end 5, tight end 6. You're very, very happy. But if the touchdowns fall his way, especially at the start of the year, he has a legit shot at being a tight end 1. So I'm picking him up everywhere for free at the start of the 10th.
And I'm completely on board with this one with Dalton Kincaid, not only just being a Bills homer, but yeah, I mean, looking at the tight end landscape, like you said, it is a dog's breakfast. Besides those top 3 and Bowers, McBride, and Kittle, you kind of just punt the position and you just kind of hope that you can draft someone later on that has the upside. And Kincaid, he ticks all those boxes. He has that profile to be a top target in that Bills offense in a very high flying system linked to the current MVP and Josh Allen. So yeah, ticks all the boxes for me. I couldn't agree with you more on Kincaid. And usually we see too with tight ends, they coming out of the rookie draft, they do start a little bit slower than usual. Yeah. I mean, Brock Bowers and Laporta, those guys were, when you look at the history, those guys were true outliers in performing as well as they did in their rookie year. So they usually say year 3 for tight ends is when they start to come into 100%. Their own. And I mean, that's what we're looking at for Kincaid. So, I mean, if you can pick him up in the 10th round, I think you said so. I mean, you can well and truly cover all your starting positions, and then if you're adding in this guy at that point as well, yeah, I love it. It's a no brainer, and the upside is well and truly there. Yeah,
For
like you
sure.
mentioned, all the targets, 91 targets in his rookie year, 73
Mm.
receptions. Yeah, I definitely think that outlier was those drops. I'm on the narrative side on that. It was due to injury. So yeah, I'm completely on board with this one, DFAB. Yeah, absolutely love it, mate. To start us off.
Love it. What about
And
yourself, mate? Who's your first?
so for me, I was looking at and probably this one kind of stuck out to me a little bit more following the recent news of the first day of training camp. Ricky Pearsall, the rookie for 49ers, he's carrying that niggling hamstring injury, and it's never a good sign seeing hamstring injuries this early on, especially during training camp. That's where you start to get the reps in and getting your body ready for the NFL. And so I thought with Ricky Pearsall kind of missing that time to start off with, which could lead out to a couple of weeks in training camp. Brendan Ayuk is on the PUP list, I think guaranteed to start off, and all reports kind of leading around to a week 6, week 7 start date for him. It's Juwan Jennings for me. I think he's just an absolute steal, and the upside, I mean, in just looking at it now, it looks like he's going to be the number one wide receiver on this team from week 1, I believe. And I mean, you can get him looking at it now. He's wide receiver 42, current ADP in the 10th round, or middle of the 10th round, which is about half a round behind Pearsall at the moment. But I think that will kind of adjust itself when we get more news of the Pearsall situation kind of carrying on. But I mean, looking at Juwan Jennings last year, he had a pretty solid breakout year. I mean, the first 3 years of his career didn't really amount to much, but the opportunity kind of came knocking when the injuries to IU came, and Pearsall, he was shot to start the year. So, I mean, that doesn't happen every day. But, I mean, Jennings capitalized on that, and we saw he finishes the wide receiver 24 in 15 games played in PPR scoring. And, I mean, he stepped up in a huge way, just showing that chemistry with quarterback Brock Purdy. I mean, that week 3 game against the Rams, just absolutely blowing everything out of the water. He dropped 46.5 points in PPR scoring with 11 catches, 175 yards, and 3 touchdowns. He also added a couple of 25-plus point weeks throughout the year too. So, I mean, the upside is well and truly there. The big play potential, I mean, those are league-winning weeks. If you had him in your starting lineup at week 3, 99% sure you would have won that week leading in. So, I mean, looking at all that too, and the projections that he's going to be the healthier, I guess, last 49er receiver standing outside of Kittle, and to also go along with the absolute gun schedule that the 49ers have to start the year. I mean, according to Warren Sharp's analytics and projections, and I mean, it's pretty accurate throughout the years too. You can see those on Sharp Analytics, I believe.com. They are the number 1 best ranked schedule for the year, meaning, the easiest amongst it all. And and tying in with that, they lost so many pieces on that defense. So many pieces. I know your Broncos, they picked up the linebacker. I'm not even going to try and pronounce his name because it's a bit of a left field one.
I'm not going to embarrass myself.
not going to try. But I mean,
nah.
Regardless, they lost a lot of key pieces on that defense, and they've got Robert Saleh coming in as defensive coordinator. I like Robert Saleh, but I think he's going to have to really work some magic to try and get those guys to anywhere close to where they were last year. With that defense taking a big step back, that opens up the possibilities for more shootouts and them having to win games through the passing attack if they do fall behind. So, I mean, for me, it just paints a clear picture for Juwan Jennings. And, I mean, getting him in the 10th round, he's probably your second bench player that you pick up. And I think he could be a wide receiver 2 to start off the year, with that ceiling of producing, those big weeks that'll win you matchups.
Yeah, could not agree more, mate. I feel like there's going to be a lot of agreeing on this set, but like Juwan Jennings, he made the most of his opportunities last year, and just purely by virtue of the soft schedule they have to start. They've got Seattle, New Orleans, Arizona, Jacksonville. It's not till week 5 until they've got the Rams in LA that they've really got, something that you could consider a difficult matchup, and then you combine that with Ayuk being out. At best, you've got Pearsall, who's coming off a hamstring. We all know like you said, what hamstrings look like in the in training camp. It's normally a death blow for a lot of guys. So yeah, Juwan to the moon, mate. It's a really, really good, really, really good player to target.
I mean, I don't know how we can kind of top this DFAB, but going into your second guy,
Yes.
I mean, we started the show off hot. Who have you got for in second?
To anyone that's listened to the pod for the last few months, it probably comes as no surprise. I'm a bit of a homer for my Broncos. So RJ Harvey is my second guy. So rookie RJ Harvey, rookie running back from Denver. He's currently RB21 by consensus rankings. For the record, to anyone that's watching, we're in the process of doing our own consensus. I believe you are the same as well, using like Draft Sharks and Fantasy Pros as our consensus. But he's going at the end of the 6th, so it's 6-12 is his ADP at the moment. RJ Harvey. Now, a lot of people could be surprised by it, purely for the fact that they've picked up J.K. Dobbins, and now the backfield looks a little bit murky. I love that. For me, it makes him cheaper. So for that's a positive. A lot of the reasons I like RJ Harvey is for the similarities with 2017 Alvin Kamara, how he performed in his rookie year under Sean Payton with the Saints. Sean Payton is also the coach of the Broncos. The amount of similarities between the two situations is uncanny. Simply put, I don't think it matters how much volume that RJ Harvey gets along the ground. He's going to be so valuable through the air. He's going to be super relevant. If he somehow does get a lot of work on the ground, the sky's the limit. To give you guys an insight, so in 2017, in Kamara's rookie year, he averaged 19.7 PPR fantasy points per game, next to Mark Ingram, despite only having 120 rushing attempts. Like, he's averaging seven attempts a game, less than 7 attempts a game, and still put up RB3 numbers. The reason he stayed valuable, he had 100 targets, 81 catches, over 800 yards, and 5 TDs through the air. He was a wide receiver and a running back at the same time as a rookie. The similarities between Kamara and RJ, I've got a little list here. So both guys were touted as highly skilled pass catchers out of college. Both guys are day 2 draft capital. They've obviously got the same coach in Sean Payton. Kamara was operating behind the number 1 pass blocking O-line and the number 10 run blocking O-line. RJ Harvey has the number 1 pass blocking O-line, judging by last year, and the 11th overall running blocking O-line. So they're one position different from what Kamara had. Both are sharing the backfield with a very capable vet that will demand work. So with Kamara and Ingram, everyone knows Mark Ingram was basically a perennial top 12 running back. So that kind of came out of left field that Kamara was going to be really impactful. RJ obviously has J.K. Dobbins now, who not to the same level. He can't really stay healthy, but is still a very, very capable running back. We saw how he started last season, absolutely smashed it. Again, to go even deeper, in that 2017 backfield, Mark Ingram had 230 carries. Right, he had by far the lion's share of the work. I don't think J.K. Dobbins, I don't think he can handle 230 carries, but I don't think he's so much more talented than RJ Harvey that he's going to garner that workload. So anything less than that is a positive for RJ Harvey. Now, let's not hear what I'm not saying. I'm not saying RJ Harvey is Alvin Kamara, right? Kamara's a better runner through the tackles, I think, and hindsight being 2020, it's easy to say that. But I think it just speaks to how well RJ Harvey will be used in that Sean Payton offense. He likes to highlight the running back, and specifically pass-catching running backs. Kamara had 4 straight years with over 97 targets and over 81 catches to start his career. Every year had under 200 carries. It speaks to how well and how successful RJ Harvey can be without that run on the ground. Whether it be J.K. Dobbins, whether they use Audric Estime, or there's a lot of chatter about Jaleel McLaughlin getting work, and that the coaching staff love him. Whoever it is, it doesn't matter. It looks like RJ Harvey is going to be the pass-catching guy out of the backfield, and that's the valuable role in a Sean Payton offense. So I think that, combined with Bo Nix's rushing ability, forces the defense units to not be able to just stack the box at they can't just spy the running back. They've got to stay honest on him. They've got elite O-line play. I think he has the situation and the talent to explode and be a legit top 12 guy. And again, I know I said it before, but getting him for free at the back end of the 6th.
Yeah, and this like with rookie running backs, I mean, especially with how, I guess, just the overall strength of this class for 2025.
Yeah.
It was one of the better running back classes that we've seen in years. And I mean, yeah, so that's really pushing down everything. And Harvey's been one of those players that has fallen just due to the overall strength of this class. And DFAB, just to be quite honest, when J.K. Dobbins did sign, I was a little bit skeptical, but I think I'm coming around a bit more that this offensive environment, they can well and truly support 2 running backs with ease. I mean, looking at last year, Javonte Williams, I mean, he was a scrub running along the ground, but I mean, he saw 70 targets. And I mean, RJ Harvey, I think in the passing game, he's levels above Javonte. So I mean, if he can scoop up that role, I wouldn't rule out, seeing 70 plus targets again. And with his big playability, I mean, RJ Harvey, he ran a 4.40 dash time. So I mean, the explosiveness is just there in his athletic skill set. So I mean, even if he only gets, under 8 to 10 carries along the ground, he doesn't need many, I think, and he'll be able to rack up, 60, 70 plus rushing yards to go along with all that receiving work. And especially in PPR leagues, it's just so valuable. Those running backs that can catch the ball. It'd be a good one to watch. I mean, Sean Payton, he really speaks highly of his guys. And I mean, the beat has been the drum has been just beating so hard for RJ Harvey through Sean Payton. So, yeah, I think both Dobbins and Harvey. But I mean, Harvey, he's probably got the top 10 upside, and J.K. Dobbins probably got top 24 upside. So you want to take the pass catcher, the more explosive guy in that backfield, and yet Harvey, all aboard. It'd be a good one be a good one to see to pan out. Now, I mean, with training camp coming up, I mean, this could be the cheapest time where you can get RJ Harvey. I mean, in the next couple of weeks, if there's a highlight reel of Harvey just like breaking a long ass run or getting a lot more work than what we think, I mean, the price is only going to go up. That ADP is only going to go up. So now's the time to strike. Yeah, while he's probably the cheapest that you're ever going to get him at the moment. So 100%. Love that one.
And that's what I'm going to be watching for during these preseason games and during training camp. Just trying to figure out if RJ Harvey's going to have much opportunity between the tackles. So we know he can pass catch, he's going to be good there. But if he can show something between the tackles and show that he's a capable runner, he's got some balance, he doesn't fumble. He's a small dude. He's 5'8", 205. He's a very similar size to Kamara, but he's a small dude. So if he can show that he's somewhat durable and can handle running between the tackles, that's going to really shoot his ceiling to that, like I said before, that legitimate top 12 overall. So as a Broncos fan and as a fantasy degenerate, he's a really, really exciting guy to watch.
And I mean, just think about the upside too. We know J.K. Dobbins, he struggles to stay healthy. I know we don't want to hope for injuries or whatnot, but I mean, if Dobbins goes down and follows his injury history, just the pure overall upside of Harvey getting even more work than what we think. It's going to be a lot. It's going to be a lot going around, and if you pick him up now, well, you're just going to be lining yourself up to win a lot of leagues. So yeah, love that one there, DFAB. And we'll jump over to my second guy here, please. And I've got the only quarterback I think between the both of us, and this guy, I've got it. I mean, we're working, like you mentioned earlier, we're working through our rankings at the moment, which will be up on our Patreon within the next couple of weeks for redraft. We'll have our top 200 on there. We might tease, maybe 50 or 75 as a free side of it. But Drake May, quarterback for the New England Patriots, he's currently going as quarterback 12 in ADP in the early 5th round. And looking at my rankings now that I'm putting together, he's my 7th ranked quarterback. I've got him ahead of Mahomes, ahead of Caleb Williams, ahead of Herbert. I just think we're underestimating his true rushing ceiling. Looking at last year and kind of what he produced, I mean, he made the best out of a bad situation. I mean, that Patriots offense was the absolute worst thing that he could have stepped into. He only had 11 starts. I think it was trying to even think. It was Tyrod Taylor, or I can't even think of the Patriots starting
Last
guy,
year.
but last year, yeah.
Yeah. I think it was.
Yeah, what wasn't anybody really worthy of note, but I mean,
Yeah, correct.
they really had to throw May in there because I mean their season was pretty much lost after
Mhm.
6 or so weeks. And when May came in, he won a couple of games. I've got one in mind. I think it was the London game or one of the Europe games over there where
Yeah.
he threw like a buzzer beater to Ramondre
Mhm.
Stevenson. He
Yep.
all the coverage broken down. The O line was absolutely gas, could not protect anything. Coverage broken down,
Yeah.
and somehow he scrambles, gets out of it, and just throws one up to Stevenson in the end zone to just secure the game. So I mean, even just seeing that, even though it doesn't really have much of an impact on fantasy, just seeing that big play potential that he can do in the clutch is just very promising.
Yeah.
And to touch on his rushing upside, like as we all know, when it comes to fantasy quarterbacks, that rushing really is a cheat code. And
Mhm.
through his 11 starts, he was second in scramble rushing yards amongst all
Yeah.
qualifying quarterbacks with 407 rushing yards. Um, and I think there's just so much meat left in the bone. I mean, 11 starts, 407 rushing yards. I think it was about 35 rushing yards average a game he was putting up.
Yep.
And looking at his college career, North Carolina, his first year as a starter, he dropped just under 700 with 689 rushing yards. And just to
Mhm.
keep in mind, when it comes to college, they deduct rushing yards when a quarterback is sacked, and I think that accounted to about 150 yards that he lost
Yeah,
on
right.
his total due to the sack. So I mean, if his ceiling is up there around 800 rushing yards, and we can kind of see that floor, I think, around that 400-500 mark to go along with the passing production. I think, yeah, it's
Mhm.
just the sky's going to be the limit for Drake May. I could
Yeah.
honestly see him finishing as a top 3 quarterback if all things go right. I know,
Yeah.
looking at the situation, they've got a new head coach in Mike Vrabel, which I'm a lot more confident in compared to Jared Mayo that they had last year. They've got
Yeah.
Josh McDaniels as the offensive coordinator, which we've seen him produce for the Patriots. I know that was with Tom Brady, and I mean, you could probably put you or I as the OC back in those days, and
Yeah.
Tom Brady just would have
Yeah.
made it work. So, but with that being said, I
Legit.
mean, along with the coaching upgrades that he's kind of had this year, they have gone out and they have invested in Drake May
Mm.
to support him moving forward, drafting offensive tackle in Will Campbell in the 4th overall pick, which
Yep.
was the number 1 rated guy in this year's class. And they also
Mhm.
added a couple of pass catches as well for him. And Kyle Williams in the 3rd round, which is a rookie that I think he's going a little bit under the radar. And they
Looks
also
legit.
added an elder Stephon Diggs, which I
Mm.
know he is coming off that major knee injury with the ACL tear, but all reports, it looks like he's going to be ready to go for week 1. So, I mean, if Stephon Diggs is healthy, if we get a little bit out of Kyle Williams, I'm not expecting much. Pop
Yep.
Douglas is there. I mean, looking like compared to last year, his rookie year, it was Demario Douglas and Hunter Henry were his top 2 pass
Yep.
catching options. So I mean, like, he didn't really have much to deal with there. So,
Mm.
and one thing I did forget to mention, rookie running back Travion Henderson, they also added him in
Yeah.
the 2nd round. And I mean, so many NFL owners are just absolutely praising his pass protect ability, but I mean, to go along
Yeah.
with that, the pass catching as well. So I mean, that those dump off passes to get May out of trouble when he's getting a bit of pressure, and I mean, Trey, he could take it to the house of a screen player off those passes. So I mean,
Yeah.
that's just going to be all production into Drake May's pocket. So I mean, absolutely wheels up Drake May. I think he's going to be the number 1 owned quarterback that I have shares in throughout the
Yeah.
redraft year. So if these insight leagues coming up and I'm in there, please just leave him. Just let me take him, and I'd much really appreciate it. But yeah, what are your kind of thoughts on Drake May DFAB heading into 2025?
Yeah, I like him a lot. What round did you say he's currently drafted in?
Currently in the early 5th round.
Yeah, that's a really low price considering the other QBs that are going before him, and there is a bit of a drumbeat for Drake May at the moment. Like people can acknowledge that his surroundings have gotten a lot better compared to last year. I love Kyle Williams. I love Will Campbell as well. I'm sure again degenerate things. The videos of him looking like he's ready to literally die to make sure his QB
Yep.
doesn't get attacked. Like there's something. It feels like there's something building in New England at the moment. don't think they're going in terms of like real football. I don't think they're going to blow other teams away. I don't think they're going to suddenly win the division or anything. But I think there's going to be enough positive this year that will build enough confidence in Drake May and his surrounding pieces that um, we don't have this same conversation next year when we're hoping is this Drake May's year. I think he's got the talent, he's got the prototypical body type to be a very capable pocket passer, and he's shown that he's got the arm to be able to be a capable pocket passer. But as you said, that rushing upside is a proper game changer. And if you're similar to me, the way I approach, especially redraft leagues, not so much super flex obviously, but if I'm in a 1 QB redraft league, I'm more than happy to wait until fifth, sixth, seventh round, wait for those real blue chip guys to come off the board, spend those on skill position guys, and if I can come out of all that and still have a Drake May, you're laughing, because he does have that real like top 3 upside if things fall his way, and he can turn that 2 rushing touchdowns into 5 or 6.
Yeah, and I think with too, like when you mentioned a bit of a late round quarterback, I feel like this year there is plenty of late round guys to go around.
Yeah,
like you're going to get value, even everybody from that probably quarterback 8 to 18 spot. You could probably make a case
Yeah.
that any of those guys can kind of chop and change. So,
Yeah.
and one thing I forgot to mention, going on with Warren Sharp's projections for the easier schedules. Patriots have the second easiest schedule. So I mean,
Yeah.
he's just gone from like he's just going to have such an easy run. And we saw Jaden Daniels, the Commanders' schedule last year was just so favorable. And I mean, he just produced nothing but the goods throughout that year. So if Drake May can kind of get on that bus and he's got everything in front of him, I just think it's going to be absolutely wheels up for Drake May
Big
heading
time,
into
man.
the new year.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
And DFAB, after that, your third and final guy for the evening. Who have you got for us?
I'm as I put this bloke on my list, so he was the first name that I put down, and I will be completely honest, I almost wanted to gatekeep him because I'm that high on this guy. We're doing a who's our favourites going into very similar like a my guys ep coming up, and I still don't know how I kick this guy out of my list. It's Calvin Ridley. So Calvin Ridley, everyone's so wide receiver from Tennessee. 30. He's 30 years old. Feels like he should be 25 because he hasn't really done much in the league so far. Wide receiver 32 by consensus rankings, and ADP is 7-11. So end of the 7th round, going into the 8th. Genuinely baffled that this guy is going outside the top 30 wide receivers at the moment. I don't know if there's still some stink of the gambling suspension that he had. I truly don't know, but I did some digging and actually found it in an article on, I think it's CBS or something like that. Calvin Ridley this year, his ceiling projects to be this year's Terry McLaurin from last year. So last year he was drafted as wide receiver 31, finished as the wide receiver 7. I think Calvin Ridley has a higher ceiling than that, but that's kind of where we're looking. You're getting a guy basically for free at the back end of the 7th when people are just finding the guy that's next in ADP. And can be a legitimately top 5 wide receiver. He was victimized last year by Will Levis, and I'm so happy for him. It feels like Christmas come early that Will Levis is out for the year already. There's no chance he comes back. He had Will Levis for 12 games last year. He was the Will Levis, the proud owner of the worst QBR of all starting QBs in the NFL. So of every single player that started a single game, Will Levis was the worst. He had the sixth worst passer rating as well. To put that into perspective, instead of all these advanced stats, Calvin Ridley had 120 targets. 37.6 of those targets were deemed uncatchable, and he still put over 1,000 yards.
Yeesh.
Like, it's disgusting the kind of QB play that he had. I could go out there and do better than Will Levis did. It was disgusting. What was most encouraging about last year, though, we're not going to completely ignore it. The most encouraging thing, though, is there was a massive tangible improvement in all of Calvin Ridley's numbers in the 4 games that Mason Rudolph was under center. So Mason Rudolph is not an elite QB. He's a decent game manager, but he's not the guy that pushes the ball down the field. He just protects the game script and he calms things down. Fantasy points per game for Ridley went from 10.5 to 14.8. the 17 game pace of those stats is wide receiver 38 if he was under Will Levis, wide receiver 11 at 14.8 points a game with Mason Rudolph as a QB. His target share, his targets per route run, his yards per route run, his first rate target share, everything improved. The second Levis was not under center anymore. What I find the most exciting and the reason why I think he's got that real top 5 potential though, last year, this is a lot of numbers. Calvin Ridley was tied 4th for the most 20-plus yard catches. He was tied 4th for the most 30-plus yard catches and tied 5th for the most 40-plus yard catches. And he was the clear number 1 in total air yards. Now, air yards is this new stat that everyone seems to be losing their nut over. And essentially, what it is it's a very clear indicator of usage opportunity and fantasy upside. It's whether a pass is incomplete or not, how many targeted yards does this player have? So if there's a 30-yard pass down the right sideline, but it's incomplete or there's a penalty or something, that counts towards air yards. So what that says, the fact that he was number 1, he was targeted downfield more and had more passes go to him than Jamar Chase, than Justin Jefferson, than Amon-Ra St. Brown, than literally every other wide receiver, every other pass catcher in the NFL. So his potential is sky high. And now to add to that, he now has Cam Ward. So super, super high draft capital. Cam Ward is an absolute stud. Obviously a much more capable passer than any of the previously mentioned guys. Last year, Cam Ward led college football with 39 passing touchdowns. He was what is the most exciting to me. He was tied first on throws of 20+ yards, which is exactly what Calvin Ridley thrives in. He was second in total passing yards, second in QBR. The dude can sling it. He's got a strong arm. He's super aggressive downfield. He's got touch as well. He can drop it in a hole at all 3 levels. Strong arm, quick release. There's a reason why he got drafted so high. Like, he's a genuinely good QB and, forecasts to be a solid 8 to 10 year at minimum QB in the NFL. And the fact that he is now paired with Calvin Ridley, who produced with all-time level bad QB play. Calvin Ridley's got basically no competition around him. There was 9 touchdowns to Westbrook Akine last year, who's now gone. So they're going to score more. The red zone target threat is now gone. He's got a perfect QB to match his game style. Get him everywhere. Like I said, he has legit, it's a perfect match. They seem to love each other already. You're getting sound bites from OTAs and stuff, how much they love each other and how Cam Ward's never played with a wide receiver that's anywhere near as capable as like I said, I'm drafting him everywhere. I think he's a steal at the back end of the 7th round. Personally, if I'm looking through the 4th, I'm hard pressed to not draft him there. Like, I truly believe that, like I said, his floor. Like, he's just come off back-to-back 1,000-yard seasons with horrifically bad QBs. Like, his floor could be 1,250 yards, 7 touchdowns, and he's easily going to be a top 24 wide receiver. But his ceiling is legitimately could have a crack at a top 3 wide receiver spot.
I mean, it's very hard to disagree with you on this one, DFAB. I mean, looking at Calvin Ridley, I know last year when the hype came out, I know there was a couple of clips in training camp of him looking quick and whatnot, and I'm pretty sure he was even going in the 4th or 5th round last year. Yeah. So, I mean, you said he was wide receiver 32 or something is his ADP.
Wide receiver 32.
32. I mean, so you're drafting him below his floor. Like you said, he finishes wide receiver 28 last year with absolutely dismal play. And I was on the Calvin Ridley train, well and truly, but then seeing that news come out that Will Levis is having shoulder injury and he's out for the year, that was just everything is just lining up absolutely perfectly for Calvin Ridley. Cam Ward to start, offensive-minded head coach in Brian Callahan there. And what we like to see too with rookie quarterbacks, they do tend to lean on their number 1 receiver, and especially when it's Calvin Ridley, the vet. And besides that, I mean, they added a couple of 4th round and 5th round picks in the draft. They signed Cam Ward's college teammate and Xavier Restrepo as an undrafted free agent. So, I mean, there's zero competition, really. I mean, Calvin Ridley, his max targets in his career was 143 in 2020 when he finishes the wide receiver 5. I'd probably say that's his ceiling.
He's done
Yeah,
it
I mean,
before. Like, it's not
yeah,
that outrageous to think that he could do it, right?
yeah, everything's lined up, and I love that you touched on Westbrook Akina. Hey, he's gone because yeah, he was just a absolute touchdown vulture. I mean, if Calvin Ridley, I mean, even if he kind of produces the same in terms of receptions and yards, if he gets those TDs up to 8, doubles to what he was last year, even that alone will take him into a top
Yeah.
20 wide receiver. And you're getting him it's criminal that to see how far Calvin Ridley has kind of fallen in terms of ADP. And I mean, even looking, I know this is based on a redraft show, but I mean, for Dynasty, if you're looking at contending this year and you don't have a lot of assets to move around, Calvin Ridley is just an absolute prime guy that you should be targeting. And yeah, this is,
100%.
I mean, this one is going to speak to itself. It's just cannot wait to see how this one plays out. And yeah, very, very confident. As long as he doesn't get any good promos for betting agencies come to his emails, I think he probably should be right. But I mean, besides that, yeah, everything's lining up perfectly. And yeah, I love the fit with Cam Ward and Calvin Ridley, like you mentioned. So yeah, this one's going to be a sure thing, I think. So
Yeah. Yeah, and just on that as well, like you mentioned it before. So I'm just looking at the stats now. So he's had his last 3 full seasons where he's played at least 15 games. He's gone 143 targets for 90 catches and 1,374 yards and 9 touchdowns. Was wide receiver 5. The 2023 at Jacksonville with, let's be honest, the really subpar Trevor Lawrence, still trying to figure it out. Still 136 targets, 76 catches, over 1,000 yards, 8 touchdowns. This last year with, like I said, generationally bad QB play, 120 targets, 64 catches, 1,017 yards, 4 touchdowns. If he just if he had a few more touchdowns, we're not even having this discussion, and he's going inside the top 20. Take the gift. It's like even that year where he finished wide receiver 5, he still had a peak level Julio Jones on the other side of the field at Atlanta, where looking through his stats now, yeah, he was a little bit banged up, which gave him a little bit more opportunity, but there's more 20-point games than there are zeros on Julio Jones that year, right? So Calvin Ridley has shown that he can be that guy, and he's being slept on everywhere. So if you have the opportunity to pick him up at the end of your draft, let everyone just take the gift, start him as your wide receiver. If you want, start him as your wide receiver 2, and cracking, because I really do believe of everyone that we could have possibly selected, he's the one that's got the highest ceiling.
And I was just about to say that, DFAB. You took the words out of my mouth. I mean, even I've got one more guy to drop next, but I mean, looking at them all, this is true, far and above the number one guy when it comes to league winners. That I just think, yeah, it just absolutely screams league winner when it comes to Calvin Ridley. So
it's got to be stole from your list.
Yeah, well, Kincaid and Ridley. Honestly, that was like when we were looking at this show, league winners. That was bang, Calvin Ridley, and we're looking at tight end Kincaid. So yeah, I mean, lesson to myself, I've just got to be a little bit quicker next time.
Yeah, be sharper on it, mate.
Be sharper.
Who's your last, Mull?
So for my last one, I've got a running back, and this one, shout out to Mav, who couldn't be with us tonight. He's still alive. He's still out there, just couldn't join us. Javonte Williams, running back for the Dallas Cowboys, and I mean, looking at Javonte, I mean, I was so enamored by him coming out as a rookie. He was a very early second round pick to your Denver Broncos back in 2021. He was an absolute stud during college at North Carolina. And we've seen those guys, they produce stud running backs. I mean, Omarion Hampton is the next example that's coming out of that college. But yeah, just looking at Javonte, I mean, I touched on it earlier when you were talking about RJ Harvey. He had 70 targets last year. I don't see that being kind of in the realm. I could definitely see him still having at least 40 receptions. I mean, looking at all the years where he's had full healthy seasons in the NFL, he's recorded 40 plus receptions in each. So just that passing or receiving upside alone. To go along with that, looking at this Cowboys running attack, they really have nobody else behind him. I mean, Miles Sanders, who cares? That's end point there. But I mean, there was a little bit of hype with Jaden Blue coming in as a rookie, but he was a 5th round pick. He's a smaller guy. I think he's only he's like 5'9", sub 200-pound guy. So he's definitely not a workhorse profile back. And there's reports coming out that, I mean, I don't know if it's fake news or whatnot, but saying that he's incredibly lazy. I mean, if you're coming out as a rookie and those are the first things that are coming out,
That's
it's
not
definitely,
good.
yeah, a lot of red flags there. And one thing I've been trying to incorporate when it comes to identifying these players is I'm just going to follow the money. I mean, looking at
Yeah,
they signed Miles Sanders for just over $1 million 1 year deal. They signed Javonte. I mean, and it's not a lot of money, but a $3 million deal for 1 year. And they could have got Rico Dowdle for the same price. I mean, he went to the Panthers for that price, and they decided that. I mean, just looking at that, I mean, it tells to me that they think Javonte is going to have a higher, is going to produce higher than what Rico did last year. And I mean, Rico, what he did last year, 1,000 rushing yards and 39 receptions for just under 250 receiving yards. And that was
yeah,
without Dak for most of the year. So, I mean, looking at defenses coming up against a Cooper Rush led team, I mean, in their head, they're thinking these guys are going to run the ball a heap. And even with that, Rico Dowdle still produced. So I'm thinking
yeah.
now with Dak, if he stays healthy, which touch wood, this is his year. You can kind of follow the trend. He kind of
Big
has a
touch wood.
down year, then yeah, big touch wood. He has a down year, then he kind of bounces back. This is his bounce back year. Purely just looking at the pattern of it all, and they added George Pickens, which I think is just going to improve this offense as a whole, which should hopefully lead to more touchdown opportunities within that red zone for Javonte. And I think he's going to be the main guy. I mean, straight out the gate, even reports at the moment, I was looking for the first couple of days of training camp for the Cowboys. He's getting a majority of the first team reps, and just seeing that helps solidify this for me and why I think he's going to be a great value. I mean, and looking at where he's going, he's the running back 37 at the back end of the 11th round. I mean, he costs
Yeah,
absolutely nothing. Last year for Dallas, oh no, not for Dallas, for Denver, even though he wasn't, it was a bit of a ghost of himself. He finished as the running back 30 alone. I mean, so you're drafting
yeah,
him below his floor. And with the upside there at Dallas, I mean, if he is the number one guy, Dallas should also have an improved offensive line this year. That is where they threw their 12th overall pick at guard Tyler Booker in this year's rookie draft. So I mean, they're bolstering that offensive lineup. Dak's on hand. We know how good CD is. I believe in George Pickens being a
yeah.
real
So do
addition
I.
to this offense. Yeah, I think that is just. I mean, for Javonte, if he's that main guy, it's going to be very hard for him to not beat his current ADP. I could see him easily finishing as a top 24 guy. And I mean, just like looking at it too, and all reports, I know you probably take it with a grain of salt, but he's come out saying that he feels 100% for the first time that he's felt since that knee injury. And if we do look back a couple of years to when that knee injury happened, it wasn't just an ACL, it was an ACL plus an LCL plus his PCL all in that one knee. So it was absolutely catastrophic. And we could probably thinking ahead, maybe that did just take a little bit more time to get back to where he was. So I mean, at the
Yeah,
back end of the 11th round, I mean, if you do have a kind of strategy in your redraft leagues being zero or hero RB, Javonte is a
yeah.
clear target. I mean, even across the board, I'm looking at grabbing Javonte in all my leagues. Yeah, I just think the value is too good, and I think it's crazy to not think that he's going to be the number one guy at the gate.
Yeah, it's a really really good pick. It feels gross as a Broncos fan
Mm,
saying I don't mind having Javonte on my list
yeah,
because he's burnt so many people. But I think you mentioned George Pickens, obviously CD Lamb, Ferguson coming back on like being healthy
yeah, Ferg as
again.
well.
Like they're going to be in scoring position a lot, and I back the possibility of Javonte Williams as the goal line red zone guy a hell of a lot more than I trust the corpse of what feels like the corpse of Miles Sanders. Like he's only 29, or turning 29, but it feels like he's been nothing for 5 years.
Yep.
And then yeah, Jadon Blue, he's 5'9", 196. He's not built to be a goal line back. He's kind of that gadget guy that can bounce to the outside and stuff like that. So everything is pointing towards Javonte Williams being that goal line back. And we've seen blokes that are typically not that talented, like obviously they're very different builds, but like Jamal Williams, for example, falling into 13, 14, 15 touchdown seasons purely for the fact they're on a really good offense and they need someone to run between the tackles. They're going to protect Dak. They're not going to be running QB sneaks. They're not going to be trying to get him to bounce outside the pocket or anything like that, like they have done it, 2, 3, 4, 5 years ago. everything's put in place for Javonte to get to score big this year. Like again, very similar to James Cook. Hot take. I'm not the biggest James Cook guy. I think he was the beneficiary of a really, really good offense and some play calls that, he fell into the end zone a bit. Javonte could be that guy this year. He could fall into the end zone 15, 16 times and be a top 12 guy. That paired with the fact that there's not really any competition for running backs between the tackles or pass catches and stuff like that. He's the best of them all. And he's still only 25. Again, it feels like he's been around for a decade, but he's only 25. So the Cowboys have picked him up at the lowest possible level of value that they could have. I think they're going to do what they can to make the most, as long as he doesn't fumble the ball. Because he hasn't had the shortest hands. But I like that pick a lot.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm glad you touched on the age. That was what I was going to bring up. I mean, compared to RJ Harvey, I know that we're both on board. He's only a year older than RJ Harvey, and this is going to be his rookie season. So just, I guess, kind of speaks to the talent of him coming out so young into the NFL. I mean, looking at it, I mean, you wouldn't be able to pick that he's that young, just given, kind of how poorly his last couple of years have gone since that injury. But I mean, if the health's there, the opportunity is going to well and truly be there. I think there is absolutely no way that he doesn't outperform running back 37, permitting health, of course, as we always do. But I think he's definitely potential to be a league winner for this upcoming year.
For sure.
And I mean, that's all that we've really got for tonight, DFAB. That's we've had 3 each. We will be dropping this up on Spotify as well. That's coming up. And looking at this now, one thing I will just reiterate from the start of the show: if you are keen on redraft leagues, and if you want to find leagues that aren't going to fold, they're going to be, don't have to worry about the commissioners. Ourselves, we're going to be running commissioners for a lot of these leagues, so we'll be making sure that everything is going the way that it should be. And I mean, to get that exclusive access, all you have to do is just sign up to our free Patreon. And then also, if you jump into our WhatsApp group, I think you'd probably have a better chance as well at getting your name into those. We'll have a couple of free leagues for some cash prizes, and we'll also have a couple of paid leagues, $25, $50, $100 buy-ins, whatnot. And we'll have some good prize pools. But we'll be back next week as always. DFAB, do you have any closing thoughts on this league winners episode?
First off, it was fun. I love these kind of eps. I like getting like I'm a fan at the end of the day, so being able to really fall into the hype and have you guys and stuff like that. This is what fantasy's about for me. In terms of what's to come, highly recommend, if you are a DGen, keep an eye on all our socials. We have so much content on the way. We're looking at pushing, not every week because it depends on when the games fall, but we're going to be pushing towards 5 shows a week throughout preseason, because this is realistically the most important part of the year for fantasy. So we will be super active on all our channels. Keep an eye on the Insta, on all of our X profiles, on the Insight overall X or Twitter page. Patreon is where we go to first. Every single time we've got something, jump in the Patreon, jump in the WhatsApp. That's where we're going to be breaking this news as it hits. But there is a lot of content coming. So really hope, whether it be just Damo, just myself, just Mav, or any combination of all of us three, or ideally the dream team when we're all on board, we are going to be spitting out a lot of content, whether it be top 200 rankings, more mock drafts, strategy on how we approach redraft and dynasty and stuff. It's going to be coming out the wazoo. So keep an eye on it. And if there's anything that you guys want to see as well, make sure you shoot a message to us on any of these platforms, and we'll do our best to accommodate.
You won't want to miss out. I mean, you're painting a perfect picture for a party, and I'm glad that I'm invited to the show. If you guys will want to kind of come in, we'll welcome you with open arms wide 100%. Open. One thing I will just touch on before we sign out here: if you did miss last week's mock draft episode, we did have the Whisperer on as a special guest from our NRL page over there, Insight. That's going to be in the YouTube description below, where you can easily just click on that to pull up our mock draft show from last week. We'll have more mocks coming up, more live redrafts, cash league drafts coming up as well over the next couple of weeks. And to go along with all the training camp and all the added content that we're going to be pumping through over the next couple of months. So you won't want to miss out. Make sure that you're joining in. From myself and DFAB here at Insight NFL, we'll catch you guys next week.